Yeah.
And we have the Closer's Mindset. Episode number 15.
15. It's our 15th anniversary.
Welcome to the Closer's Mindset, y'all. 15 episodes now.
Of 15.
Man, you remember episode 1? It's like our first one. We were like kind of timid, talking about closing and COVID.
We're like, one of these things that we're speaking into. Now it just feels like second nature, man.
It does.
Kind of like step selling and the sales process.
The more you do, the better you get, right?
That's right, yeah.
The better you flow with it. And in today's episode, we're going to talk about situational awareness and how it really is involved into our business. You know, and as you can hear in the very beginning, before we actually get on in our prequel, as you want to call it, whatever the pre-recorded stuff that we always play ahead of time on the podcast, you know, this situational awareness is important because in our business and what we do, specifically for that in-home road warrior, like we talk about there in the very beginning, this is one of the keys to it. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah. Yeah, I think after our last episode, we were talking, and I even said to you, I think it's not about skipping things. That's not what I was trying to say. I was trying to say, be situationally aware of how they're receiving the information. If you're going through a slide deck, for instance, and they look bored, start speeding up your slide deck. Don't they feel like you have to read every word on that page. Just say, hey, and this talks about our A+ Better Business Bureau rating. Great. Next, you don't have to say, in 2016, you know?
So that's important to know, and I want to take it to the next level. You kind of went into an example, but if you don't have this or can't figure it out, don't do this business. And I don't mean that to be rude, but if you don't have this situational awareness, they also call it the emotional intelligence. I've heard it called. I've heard it called street smarts. I've heard it called all kinds of different names out there. Gut feeling, whatever you want to call it. It's pretty much when you're in that situation, reading the room, whatever you're doing. And there's all different names, but the best I can do is the situational awareness, being aware of the situation that you're in, understanding where you're at, what you're doing there. Especially because you're going into home, you're going into their kingdom, their domicile, but that's, to me, an advantage. People are like, oh, I'm on their turf. Let me on their turf.
Oh, you're in in-home sales? That's tough. You're going into people's homes. Like, I get that all the time. It's like, no, dude, I get to learn everything about them. That's like every marketer's dream.
Right.
You know? Yeah. Yeah. You know, I don't know, like it's not a disagreement per se, but I truly believe that if you're in this industry now or considering it, or if you're recording it, you know, wink, wink back there. No, just kidding. But whether you're in it or not, I think anyone could do this as long as they're willing to learn and listen. Because situational awareness requires emotional intelligence, which you either kind of have it or you don't. But I understand that. But I do think if you focused on listening to people, you can get better at that.
I would agree.
So if you're in sales right now and you're wondering, like, why are my numbers not like those guys at my company or those guys?
I think you can still do this job and be successful. I just don't think you're going to be superstar successful without the situational awareness.
Right.
Knowing, like you said, when to speed it up when you have a customer getting you're boring to death. Knowing what their interests, wants, needs, and desires are. Being able to read that body language that they give you. Because that body language will tell you if they're buying or not.
Right.
They're crossing their arms. I don't know if that's a good thing. There's some people do cross their arms that just do it inherently. But most of the time, yeah, you're pissing them off. You're doing something.
Exactly.
You got to get those arms, and be aware of that. I'll give you a good little sales tidbit here for those. If you got somebody crossing their arms and you can't figure out what to do, I don't care what step you're in, all right? Get out of that step and grab something to put in their hand. Create a product. Get something in their hand. It'll open it up. Yep. It'll give them something to see, feel, touch, and get them off of whatever you just pissed them off by them crossing their arms.
Right.
Because maybe you're getting too long-winded, whatever the case may be. You got to read everything. It's like somebody looking at their watch. Well, if they look at their watch, you're wasting their time, right?
Right, yep.
I've seen reps watch them do and then not address it or not presenting to both parties. You're focusing on just the husband or just the wife, or you present and turn the iPad, and the iPad's just a little bit more towards that person. I know it doesn't seem like much, But that little bit more just says, I'm giving that person more attention than you. That's what you're saying to the other party. And I watch reps do this and go back and forth. You got to be directly in the middle and point to both of them and look at both. Not just talk to one and look at one, look at both of them and go back and forth. Again, situational awareness.
Right.
And reps tend to focus on the one that's always asking the questions and going through the stuff, not the one that's going to say yes or no in the background.
And there might be some deeper bias there about who they think the buyer is.
Well, yeah.
And what inevitably happens is you go, so what do you think there, Mr. Jones? And Mrs. Jones goes, no. You're like, whoa, where did you come from?
It happens.
Been there the whole time.
It happened to me. I've done it before. I've spent with Mr. Jones the whole time, and me and Mr. Jones got along great story. She was nice too. Mrs. Jones was great, this, that, and the other. But I didn't focus on her giving me the commitments, and he gave me the commitments. Ooh.
That's good, yeah.
Smack myself back and forth on that nice hour ride home with a DNS, demo no sale. It's no fun, dude. No fun at all.
It's easy to see couples as a couple and not to remember they're individuals they have their own wants and needs, their own priorities. Chances are, if they're a successful couple, it's because they're completely different people with different priorities. One's a spender, one's not. One's type A, one's type B.
I don't know, so I cover all bases. Again, I don't know what type they are.
Exactly.
So I'm going to cover all of them.
And then situational awareness is when you discover who they are, you do discover who they are because you're paying attention.
So
to
let's go
things.
back. So the last episode, if you're following us on our episodes and you're up to this episode now, last one we talked about step selling, right? This one we're talking about situational. So in that step selling, that situational awareness happens from the very beginning. When you pull up in the neighborhood, you need to know what their neighbors have done, what the neighborhood has done, what's being done, how they do their yard, what they do there, all this different stuff. What color the house is, have they done anything upgrades on it? Does it look like anything's been changed? I mean, there's so many little things. What kind of vehicle are the kids out and play? I mean, there's so many situations that I'm already taking note of as I'm coming up to the property.
Yep.
And I'm pulling up to the property always about 5 minutes early. So if I have an appointment, let's say my appointment's at noon, I'm pulling up at 11:55. Why? Because I'm going to have some situation awareness. Situational awareness. Why? I'm gonna sit there and get out of my car and look at their property, and I'm going to evaluate, inspect. Remember we talked about the inspection? That's what I'm gonna do, and then I'm gonna take that situational awareness. When I knock on that door, you don't know. We just talked about you don't know who you have, right? So we all had that customer. You knock on the door, and they're like, "Hey." Zoom, and they're going right to whatever it is, whatever product you're selling, whether it's a roof, whether it's a bathroom, a kitchen, windows, a door. They're taking you right to here. Here's my problem. Let me show you, right? And they're walking. You don't even have a chance to say hello or anything. You know, you're just trying to get into the door.
Right, yeah.
And they're like halfway down the hallway and shit. You're like, you try to take your shoes off and be nice and hurry up. And like, you're literally like halfway sprinting to get to meet up to people, right? And you're like, well, no, I got to talk about this. No, let them go. Situational awareness. Let that person drive that car. Let that person be the driver that they want to be. Let them dominate. Let them win. You'll win later, as long as you let them win now.
Yeah.
They want to win and get all their information out. Don't stop them. Let them get everything out. You can talk about your stuff later. Let them talk. They've been waiting to tell you all this stuff for God knows how long. They've been waiting. See, you don't think about it. They've been waiting all day to tell you about this. All day they've been waiting. And you're going to be like, no, stop. Customer, let me tell you about what my agenda is. Yep. Let me tell you what I'm here to do today, okay? Let me tell you how I'm going to take care of this. Well, yeah, you're going to try to sell me again because it's going to be your presentation on your terms. Yeah. You don't want to hear shit about what I have to say. Yeah. My first 10 years of marriage, I did this, okay? So there's a marriage and sales lesson all in one, all right? My wife would come home and tell me about her day, and she would talk to me and this, that, and the other. And I'm a fixer. I'm a solver. I solve problems. That's what I do. I'm a closer, baby. I solve problems. Wrong. I created problems. Look, all she wanted to do is just tell me about her day. She didn't want me to fix shit. She just wanted me to shut up and listen. We need to do the same thing for the customers, but they don't want to hear about any of our agenda or our expectations or our promotions or what we can do. They just want to tell us about everything and all the problems and why we're here. And they want to get all that bottled up information out and they want to give it to you. And you better shut up and listen and go, yes, tell me more. Oh, really? Oh, what about this? How did that happen? And let them tell you more and share a story, because what they're going to do in that process is they're going to tell you how to sell them. You better take notes, lots of them, because a good doctor, a good inspector, a good person doing a thorough inspection on your property or your home is going to take lots of notes and do a very thorough evaluation. And you're going to trust that person when they do a thorough evaluation. The doctor just looks at you and goes, yeah, okay. Well, aren't you going to do an x-ray? Aren't you going to like poke a prod or do something else? You're just going to say, oh, well, you have freckles. Yep, that's it. You have that disease because of those freckles. I can tell. No. Think about these things.
Yeah.
But we take these for granted. So again, situational awareness, be aware of your surroundings.
I was just focusing on listening just now. How'd it feel to be able to just talk? Felt good, right?
I love hearing myself.
But I mean, I literally, like, you know, part of you has to just say, you know what, I'm just going to listen. And just listen. Dude, when someone's talking in a home, that's like the greatest gift to a salesperson.
So I'm biting my lip because I want to talk right now. I'm trying to let you talk.
Right.
But I love to talk. So if you have that same problem and you love to talk, but you're good at talking, like you got the gift for gab, but you love to talk and you talk too much, learn how to bite your lip or bite your tongue, and then it'll force you to stop. It's a reminder. It's a constant reminder. Just, I mean, don't make yourself bleed. Just do a little, just enough to be a reminder. Stop. Shh.
I was at an appointment today, and the guy was talking. We're getting closer to the close. I'm getting everything ready, about to leave it on my price presentation, all that. And he was talking. And I would find myself being like, even wanting to be like, yeah, you know, that's interesting. But like, as I did that, he would keep talking. And I was like, yeah, no, go on. And I would just like, that's what I ended up just like, go on. And he ended up talking himself into the sale because he was telling me how he's been in construction stuff as well. And he hated when people would undercut him on price because they were ultimately coming back with a higher price because they weren't doing the job right. And he talked himself into the sale, and I let him talk, and I didn't have to do anything at the close. I was just like, all right, here's my price. And he goes, well, I knew you weren't going to be the cheapest, but everything you just said was, you're doing a great job, by the way. So yeah, shut up. Listen, nod your head. That is, oh my gosh, that is so reaffirming to people when they're talking.
Nod your head.
And you nod your head.
Tell me more.
Go on.
What are some other ones?
Why?
Oh
yeah, I was in the military. Why? What made you join the military? Whatever.
And what else? And other than that, out of those, which bothers you the most? I mean, there's so many different ones you can use out there. Quit trying to play a silent game now. It works good though. So right? when you start having phones with your friends in this, if you're role playing and practicing with them, practice the silence game. It works great. When you catch on to your buddy doing it, you'll catch him and you'll bust him on it. It's always so fun. But when you can learn to play the game really well, I would do it with role playing all the time, and I would just go, nod my head, wouldn't say a thing, had to force myself to be quiet. But the other person can't not talk.
They keep talking.
Just like a customer. Most customers cannot not say something. They're going to talk because silence is uncomfortable. So if you say something to them and get them to open up, they'll just keep talking. If you don't say a word, the silence is uncomfortable with them, or they're going to grab their phone and go to something else. So if you're going to create silence, do it, have intention behind it. Don't lose your customer. Right. I don't want you to just be quiet. All of a sudden they're like, all right, well, this guy ain't saying shit. I'm going to get on my phone now and I'm going to play Candy Crush because this guy, or I'm going to play Words with Friends.
It's not about the silence. It's about the active listening, right?
Yeah.
Not active listening, but yes, active listening, but active listening. My goal going into my appointment today, I was in the shower for whatever reason, man. I kept just hearing, be quiet today with this guy. Just be quiet today with this guy. So I focus. I'm like, my goal today. Remember, in past podcasts, I mentioned just if you're going to do anything, just focus on one thing at a time. We're giving you guys so much information. And if you just chose one thing today and said, you know what, today I'm going in and I'm going to be quiet.
I think you'll get a lot more situational awareness.
So I do believe there's a natural gift that a lot of people have, just like anything else, music, you name it. I've got really talented musicians as friends that are like, hey man, I'm not naturally talented. I worked at this. So
See, even that, like, so music, this brings me up to a house I was in, and I saw all the music instruments and everything there. Rep never said anything about it. I saw the lady's grandson done, like, they had a picture blown up
right.
of the grandson playing, and I'm like, but you're not asking those questions? When I see a full size bass, beautiful bass thing sitting there, and I see all this stuff, I'm going to ask.
Yeah.
I'm too curious, first off. I'm going to do a little bit of bonding to get a little bit of that in, to find out a little bit of information there before I go into another way. I think that situational awareness is important.
You know what's not situational awareness? Cutting people off like that. I just kidding.
Cutting people off. Sorry, I didn't mean to.
No. I just cut you off. I was joking. But like I've been out with guys who, they're not the sales guy, they're the field supervisor, and inevitably they're doing their best. It's so cute. We're doing a final measure and they're just trying to be relatable to the customer, but they think relatability is about you having a story about what they have. That's great if you can genuinely connect on a level like that. But to your point, if you've never known a musician or done anything with a bass guitar or whatever, asking, hey, where'd you get that? Why did you get that? Oh, you're learning it? How's that going? That's interesting. Like, I feel like too many people think they have to have that thing. Like, yeah, my brother plays bass guitar as well, blah, blah, blah. Like, they have to have a story ready to go.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean?
Be genuine.
Be genuine.
Yeah, be genuine.
Just be genuinely
I
curious.
was genuinely curious about it.
Yeah.
My wife plays the violin, so that would add to that. But I'm genuinely curious regardless. But I'm curious about a lot of dumb things. I'm curious about the book they have over there because I may have seen it before. I'm curious about the rug or the table or whatever else they have in their home.
Because they made choices to have those things.
And I want to know why.
Because they're putting things in their home based on choices they make because of who they are.
Yes, and that helps me know who they are.
Right.
And what they're about as people, and it helps me at least, departmentalize, how I can proceed with this customer, and it allows me to be on the same level with them in some way. It humanizes the experience. That's the best way I can describe it. Having that situational awareness humanizes the experience because it tells them, hey, I'm a human too. Yep. We can have that bond. Like I always talk about. So if you had to pick 10, you went 10 leads this week, right? How many of those 10 leads have pets?
It's like probably 50-50.
At least I'd probably sway it. Probably 75% have pets. What I've seen. I could be wrong, but that's what I've seen. Maybe 65, but a lot.
Varies.
Most have pets. Yeah. And the reason why I mention that is people spend ungodly amounts on their pets. I mean, we're talking just crazy money, right? And you've had some out there. I don't care about that pet. Old Yeller, bring him out in the back. Okay, you have one in a blue moon like that, but I'm telling you, the most part, even that big old, the big old burly guy is the one holding the kitten and spending millions of dollars to take care of that little kitten. Right. Typically, that's the way it is.
Yeah.
Situational awareness, being aware of the pets. And people love their pets. And if their pets trust you, they trust you. 100%. So keep kitty cat treats and keep doggy treats in your bags at all times. Situational awareness. Having coloring books and crowns for the kids. Situational awareness. You think that's crazy? Let me tell you how many times I've sold deals because I've had coloring books and crowns. Where did I get them from? The Dollar Tree store. They're not cheap. They're not expensive. Hey, folks, I've always done this. I know I got little cousins and nephews and nieces. I know. All right. I go to all the holiday events. I know what you have to deal with. I can help. I bring these out. These are gifts that I always leave. Whether they play with them now or later, that's fine. If you want to give it to them now, great. If not, you want to save it for another date to give yourself a break. Here's some gifts you can use. Either way, they're appreciative of it. They like it. And it usually saves the day,
right? And
gives you some wins. And if not, include the kids in the presentation. Make them part of it. Let them help you. People love that. If you show them that, and you're not just being rude. Like I've had people like get upset or rude or talk over something happen or not addressing it. Address it.
Yeah.
Don't talk over it. Don't do that. Have the situational awareness.
Don't be weird.
look, we were at this one house, right? It was a one-legger, right? And the other party was upstairs, and they were ready for us to go. They were just ready. They started hammering upstairs doing stuff. I was looking at that lady. I could tell. I was like, she wants us to leave, doesn't she? Situational awareness, dude.
Yeah.
You could just tell sometimes. Sometimes when you don't make the sale and you've overstayed your welcome, there's some situational awareness there. Because you're not selling them all. I mean, there's some deals I've in, and the guy's like, you can leave. Okay.
Wait, so that's not permission to finish my presentation? You know what I mean? I don't know. Don't make it about you. That's the big thing. Like, I was in an appointment the other day, had a guy following me, and lady mentioned the kid. I asked, "Oh, how many kids do you have?" Because I'm trying to learn more about her. I got a couple kids, and I actually have grandkids in the room. I peek over, they're like on screens. I'm joking, like, "Oh, my kid won't get off his screen." And the guy I'm with just starts talking about, "Yeah, I got kids," to the point where I didn't get the sale because he wouldn't shut up. And at the very end, like, she gave us parting words of, "Hey, and good luck with your kid." This, like, it was all about him. Those stories give a little drop. I got kids, man. They love their screen time. Oh, tell me more about that though. Like flip it back actively. Like, okay, a little bit about me. Back to you though. Don't make it about you. Shut up. If you're talking about yourself,
So good.
if you're
So good.
if you're talking,
Bro,
what are you not
so
doing?
good. Hey, everybody, listen up. Listen to what he's saying here. It's dropping, as I like to call fairy dust. So tell me more.
Here's the thing, man.
Give us an example of this real
Right.
quick so they understand, so the audience understands what you're talking about here and why this is so important in getting the customer to talk more about themselves and also getting the customer to just talk, right? So give me a great example of this.
The one I just gave.
Yeah, but give me the good way how you would have done it.
Yeah, I mean, I was trying to set it up.
Talk to me.
I was trying to sit up and say, tell me, you got your kids. So she got to that point in the conversation. So I got the kids. And I was like, yeah, my son won't get off his screen either. We got some screen time going on. Yeah. How old are they? Not, let me tell you all about my life and my son and here are my pictures and all that. How old are your kids? What do they enjoy doing? What are they into? Oh, they like to read. My son loves to read. Tell me more.
There's that fairy dust.
Right?
You relate and then tell me more.
You relate, tell me more. Relate,
tell me more. Sprinkling fairy dust. You find something you guys have in common. You tell them a little bit about that, and then you let them what I call one up you.
Oh, man.
That's what you do. You don't one up the customer. Bad habit I picked up. I did a lot. I sold a lot. Girls and guys, I sold a lot of business one upping. I sold a lot more when I learned to let the customer one up me.
Can I tell you something too? This is a life story. This is a lesson for human beings. I remember I can't even remember where, man, but I remember watching something. This guy was like, you know what? Don't be the guy that's got the bigger fish. No one wants that guy at the table. You're out to eat and they just feel a need. So if you've got that going on, you'll notice if you're starting to become, so I'm saying, I think situational awareness is it's a growth thing. I think anyone can grow into it, but I've had good friends where I was out to dinner the other night and they said, yeah, man, we spend so much a month on our dog food. And the other person goes, I bet I spend more. Like, what the?
One upping, baby.
Yeah,
one
like,
up all
what are
day.
you doing? That's so, just let them think they spend so much.
So here's a great example of this. So take this to a customer situation, right?
Yeah.
And the customer says, well, gosh, I went hunting and I did this and I shot this deer. And then you're like, yeah, you know what? I went hunting and then I shot this deer. You should have seen, hey, let me show you my deer.
Yeah.
Because it's so much better
this story
than
was
your
insane.
deer.
Oh my gosh, you don't even.
Dumbass.
Yep.
You can say, I went hunting too and I was able to get a deer, but man, that is so cool. Is that your first deer, second deer? Tell me more. That's it. You tell them you went hunting. You got something too. I celebrate the wins with you. Tell me more about your experience because this is all about you. It's not about me. Now, after I'm done selling, we can talk more about me and you and share all kinds of goodies. But right now, this thing is all about you.
If they're good people, there's kind of the customer who, I don't even know what I'm trying to say exactly, but follow me here. A good person will try to ask you questions as well. Do you know what I mean? Like if they're a genuinely nice person, they're going to try to ask you questions as well. And that's fine. Give a quick answer. You're a human being. Yeah. No, I love hunting. Yeah. I've gotten a couple deer last year. I got a deer. It was great. But tell me more. Like, you don't have to.
But also, if you don't hunt, don't lie.
Don't lie.
I don't hunt. I'm not a hunter.
I don't have an opinion on it either. Oh, I tell you why I don't hunt. You just keep your mouth shut.
I eat meat, but I don't hunt. Okay? That's what it is.
Right.
Now, would I go out and like openly try to tell someone who's vegan that? No, but I wouldn't hide it from a lie to them either. Yeah, I eat meat. I used to date a girl who was vegan. Always wanted to like eat like a hamburger and like front of some of her. She had the vegan stickers and everything. Not against it. My wife actually went vegan. God bless her.
Hey, I've heard some really good health benefits to that. So it is what it is.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. I I had a customer the other day, we were speaking of COVID and masks and all this, you know, when the news came out that you don't have to, you know, wear a mask, she was like, I was hooting and hollering. And I'm like, in this moment, I'm like, I just heard that for the first time. And I'm like, I don't even know my opinion on it or whatever. It is what it is. And I'm just like, I'm going to let her celebrate this victory. And I was just nodding.
So true.
I didn't have
So
to
I always
inject
say about the
my,
mask, I'm like, hey, I have to put the mask on. I don't say whether I like it or don't like it,
I
or
just say,
do
hey,
you
I
want
have
me
to.
to. Great point, situational awareness. So this guy was like, man, I have my shot, so I really don't need. Like, they're almost like I don't need to put the mask on, trying to tell the customer. And I'm like, no, I want the customer to tell me, because I don't know what the customer.
Right.
I don't know what side they're on, how they feel.
Heard a guy
They may
recently,
be
yeah,
super cautious, regardless of having 30
regardless.
shots. They may be super. So I need to respect that until I know. That's called situational awareness.
I had a
You
guy,
can loosen up afterwards. They may tell you, Sonny, don't put that mask on. You
yeah,
better take that. Okay, great. Thank you. I'm glad you feel that way. Or thank you so much for wearing the mask. Yeah, completely, 100%. We want to make sure that you're safe at all times. Again, situational awareness, knowing what you're in front of,
yep.
how you're going about it, knowing the words you say are so critical, and also
The words
how
you don't say too.
how you yes, the words you don't say, and also how you enunciate each particular word and where you add emphasis upon that word, so you can emphasize different areas too, and really get it going, depending on how you emphasize that word and how you're presenting it.
Yeah.
um
I had a rep recently. I heard him, you know, talking to some customers. We were in like the showroom type of thing, and a customer came in, and immediately he said, I'm a good dog and got my shots. So that was his excuse for not wearing a mask. They didn't even say a word. They hadn't even talked yet. I'm like, you're assuming so much about whether they're comfortable with this or not, what they will feel about that or not. I just was like, dude, put the mask on until I have people, you know, hey, you don't have to wear that. And I'm not just like, thank you. I say, are you sure? Because this is my corporate policy and I want to respect my corporate policy, but are you positive? Like, you kind of have a balancing act there, you know, but still I'm not going to just jump on board either. I've got a corporate policy. I want to be respectful of that.
Jump on
Are you
tables,
sure?
swing your mask around.
Exactly. Woohoo. I don't have to do this anymore. I had a guy, I'll tell you another story. Situational awareness. This guy had his vaccines and was wearing a mask. And anytime I would and I wasn't even trying to get into space, but anytime I would step toward him to take a measurement or whatever, because he was next to something, he would back off to that 6 foot.
Yep.
No matter what.
Yep.
And we got to the very end and he just went off for 5 minutes about, I don't care what you believe. Why don't you just wear a mask? Is it that big of a deal? I'm already vaccinated and this and that, but just put the mask on. Is it that big? And I'm like, I'm so glad I didn't say anything or do anything. Or when he would back off, guess what I would do? Mirror that. I would back off a little bit.
Yes.
I had to show him the contract, so we had to get in the same vicinity. But at that point, I've already learned, boom, contract. I'm pushing it forward toward him and backing away because I know that's what he wants. Situationally aware because I'm paying attention to his body
language. You said
language.
something that I'd like you to tell me more about. You said mirroring. Tell me more about that.
Mirroring is when you do exactly what they do, like a mirror. So if they're talking and nodding and their eyebrows are up, you're listening and your eyebrows are up and you're kind of nodding yeah, that's a cool story. You're not saying, you're just yeah. Or if they, have their hands in their pockets, sometimes I'll just toss a hand in my pocket because I'm meeting them where they're at. If they talk really quietly and they're kind of introverted, I just give my presentation kind of like this. I don't bring my energy that you guys hear. Just talk to them like that.
Nice.
A couple examples.
How
about you?
That's exactly.
What do you got? Any stories about that? Examples?
Mirroring customers.
Other body language or words even, or, if they're saying dude,
I'm not as good at mirroring customers. I bring a lot of energy, so typically I'm trying to raise that energy up.
To raise their energy up?
Raise it, yeah. The whole mirror, I to a point, I can mirror like a driver. I can mirror because I can be a driver.
Right.
So I can mirror the driver pretty easily.
Let me put it this way. I don't actively think about mirroring. I got a mirror. Again, I referenced The Office last time, but there's a scene where Ed Helms is like, I'm going to mirror this guy and become his best friend. Oh. And he literally is just annoyingly doing everything.
Of course.
So no, you don't actively think about it, but you allow yourself to kind
You ever given yourself an accent by accident?
of.
Come on. I've done it before.
I don't know if I have or not, man.
I mean, I've given myself a little twang.
Our guy recording is sitting there shaking his head. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
yeah.
hilarious.
Oh, you do. especially with your little Minnesota.
My Minnesota accent.
Yeah.
We got a
But
list.
I've had it because I lived. I mean, I've lived in the country, and you live out there enough, you start getting this country swag.
Yeah.
You know, and I've been very fast in my talk before, so that does make a difference on also having a situational awareness to where you're at and what you're doing and how you're doing it, and every aspect of this. When you get really, really good at this game and you're going in with this flow, you're gonna know everything. You know, when you pull up to that house, you're already thinking of 10 different ways. It's like a chess game.
Yeah.
All right, we're playing chess, not checkers here. Okay, we're not just jumping a couple. We have a lot of moving parts in here,
Right.
and we need to know what we're gonna say, how we're gonna say it before we say it. We need to know what we're gonna do, how we're gonna do it before we do it. When we ask some of these questions, we do it intentionally. Intentionally asking that question.
Right.
Because of the situational awareness, we knew what was going on. We sprinkle a little bit of dust. We say, wow, look, this Indian stuff you have up here. I mean, I really, really, really into this. The arrowheads, I've actually collected a few as a kid. Where did you find these? And this guy goes into detail telling me that you can't find them this way anymore because they don't plow like they used to plow. All right, the old school plowing, it would dig up everything. You could actually walk and see them, but the way they plow now, you can't see them anymore. But they would literally, while they're in the military, take breaks and go walk out. And these are out in the fields of Idaho and I forget a couple places you've been to.
Yeah.
And walk through these fields and actually pick these arrowheads up. And he had like a couple, it was cool stories to talk about. And he's like perfect. Like, it's like, as a kid and you grew up and you found the rocks that you thought were an arrowhead.
I know.
I thought we all
100%.
Like, this is an arrowhead. Oh, dude, I'm telling you, this. You're telling your buddies, they're like, yeah, man, it has to be. I'm telling you. No, these are the ones you're like, oh, that's what an arrowhead looks like.
Yep.
Oops.
Yep.
And then just let them go on and talk about it. And I learned so much about this person. They loved, they trusted me. But I just talked a little bit about me and enjoying arrowheads, and it was intriguing to me and letting them talk and being really into them and having them tell me more and share more of the story with me. And lots of times through that process, people are going to tell you their buying styles. They're going to give you a lot of tells. And what I mean by tells is if you got to read that customer in all aspects, their hand gestures, their body language, how they speak to you, what they say. Do they come up close? Do they speak with their hands or not? Their eyes are going to tell you a lot as far as how they look at you. Do they look right at you? Do they look away? There's so many little things that you can pick up on when you're having these conversations with your customers and you're starting to ask them questions. And I really think in your situational awareness, a lot of reps in this are scared to ask questions. They're scared just to go, hey, blah, 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 blah.
Right.
Brutally honest.
Scared, I would say also they don't give themselves the permission to. They're in too much of a sales mode that they're not thinking as a human being, which is ultimately what we're talking about is a higher level of sales.
Yeah, it's taken to the next level.
Take it to the closer's level, closer's mindset level. You know what's not?
There's a sales mindset and there's a closer's mindset.
Oh,
there's an order
it took
taker and
15
there's a
episodes
closer.
to get there, but we got it.
Right? It's like checkers and chess,
now we're done.
baby.
No, just kidding. There's a sales mindset.
We figured it out. We're done. No more episodes. That's
that
it.
was it.
We done. We're done. We're done. We're done. Situational.
Just kidding. But you know what's not situational? I want to say this before we get it going here because we're coming up on time. But I want to role play with you to see how this goes. Might go really shitty. I don't know.
Go. Spit it.
But you're the homeowner. All right.
I'm not.
Hey, nice home you got here.
Just kidding. Thank you.
All right, so let's talk about it. You know what I mean? Hey, beautiful view you got there.
Thank you.
Yeah. Love that. That's cool. That is not situation. That's lazy small talk.
Great weather we're having here.
Well, it's one thing to like try to use if you're struggling or whatever, try to use that as a it was really cold. You're not used to the cold? Are you from the warm? Like to try to get deeper. Or, genuinely, if you walk in and it's like, oh my gosh, that's a breathtaking view. You ever have those homes?
Yeah.
And you don't notice until you get to the back of the home. You walk into their house.
When
You're
it's
like,
genuine,
wow.
that people know it.
Exactly.
And that's all you gotta do is be genuine.
It's a nice
Whatever
house you
you
got here.
decide that you're gonna talk about, be passionate and genuine about it. That's
Yep.
all. That's all we're saying. Is
Let it be
passionate
real.
and yeah, let it be real.
Don't feel like you have to say anything. Let what's genuinely there.
Well, let me
come
ask you:
out.
have you ever had anybody bullshit you and give you some bullshit line? You're like, you don't really give a shit.
Yeah.
You don't care. Come on.
100%.
We all have, right? You're
Yeah.
like, come on, you don't care. Like you're asking me this. It's like the telemarketer you get on the phone call that you know is reading the script.
Yep.
And you feel bad because they're reading the script, but you don't feel bad, right?
Right.
You do, but you don't.
I interviewed at a company once before I got my actual sales job. This was for like a canvassing job. And they called me and they're like, Caps, would you like to be part of a company that blah, blah, blah? And I'm just like, oh my gosh. I said, I can tell you're reading a script, but yes, the answer is yes. Like, of course, who doesn't want more freedom, more time? Like, it's what it is. So anyway, that was a side story, but
That's good stuff.
don't be scripted, man. Just, if they don't have a nice house, don't say that. Just, like, if you don't.
And if you're brand new and you're listening to this, here's another little sales 101 for you. Don't be afraid to tell them you're new. Don't be afraid to tell them you're newbie or you're
play
rookie.
that chord as long as you can.
You too? Oh man.
I'm new.
All day long. Look. I'm brand new. Please bear with. Don't beat me up too bad. I would use that. I was a new person for a very long time.
Yep.
Because you really are new for a while. But I use that all the time. And people want to help you and they feel bad and they're much nicer to you sometimes.
The sales like barrier can oftentimes go down because they just think, oh, look at this poor little pup.
Well, and then yeah, when you say you're new, they start asking you questions, and it's fine. If the customer asks you questions, that means they're interested in you.
Right.
And then that's okay when you start sharing about yours. When they start asking, that's different. That's different than when you trying to bombard them with your information versus answering their questions. Because when they start doing that, then yeah, it becomes a nice conversation.
Yep.
Now,
What is something? Yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say, don't get into the weeds either.
Yeah, don't talk to.
I've
There is a too much.
I've gotten into the
You ever
weeds.
left a home where you felt like, man, that's my best friend? They call you back 2 days later, like, we're not doing it. It has nothing to do with how friendly you are with them. That's the step selling process. You got to stick
too
to
nice
it.
with the end. Come on, bud. Yeah, it's me. Come on. And at the end, you're just like, and then now you've shared so much in there, and I try to keep it friendly but professional. I'm at the lean when I lean, and I'm gonna ask, and I'm gonna keep asking friendly and nicely.
Right.
You know.
Yeah.
Not. I don't ever want to wear out my welcome. And if they don't have their heart into it, I didn't do a good job anyway, and it's my fault. Remember that. It's always my fault. If it doesn't sell, it's my fault.
It's your
I don't
fault.
care.
Yep.
It's always my fault. Situational awareness. You better have that when you DNS. When you demo no sell, that's when I think you need the most situational awareness.
Yep.
That's something we didn't even go into.
That's self-awareness. That's a whole other podcast episode.
Wow, it is. It is a
Yeah,
situational
self-awareness.
self-awareness on the unsituational awareness.
On this, the situation being, I didn't make the sale. if you're like,
Dude, have you ever,
Yeah.
when you drive home, man, that sucks. Oh, man, I've been pissed
Yeah.
leaving the house.
Yeah.
Pissed I didn't get it. And just getting in the car, grabbing the steering wheel, driving home, and just going, what the heck did I miss? Like, I
Yeah.
thought I had them. Like, every step, they said yes. They were like pre-closed. It was there. And then I just couldn't get them over the hump. Could not get them.
yeah,
You know, and it's not the ones that you don't get or whatever. It's the ones that are close. The ones that sat there and they paused in silence for like 30 seconds to a minute,
Yeah.
and you're like, oh shit. Or the ones where you're going back and forth, you close, and then the last one, like you get a porch light. We'll talk about the porch light closes, but you get that porch light closed,
Right, yep.
and then you don't get it. You're like, what did I miss? Because those, you were so close that
if they allow you to do the porch light close, you're close.
yeah, if they allow you. Now, if you have to do it, that's one thing. But if they are the ones telling you, you're really close. And if you miss on that one, you better go back and look at your presentation because you screwed something else
Right.
because that should have been a sale.
Yep.
And I'm telling you that because I've screwed that up. I've done that before where they porch lighted me and they were real serious. They're close and I didn't get it. Why? Because there's something that I missed.
Yep.
Again, anytime you don't make a sales because there's something that they weren't comfortable with, period. It's something you didn't make them comfortable with. Whatever it is. It is what it is. And that's just, knowing what you know. And we don't know everything. That's why we do this podcast.
That's right.
So we're gonna wrap it up here. A couple things I guess we gotta let them know about. You got the Be a Better Closer seminar, webinar thing.
We're gonna keep talking about it till you guys sign up, man.
Keep signing up.
$99 to $99.
We're only doing it 3 times live each time, right?
Right. And if
3 hours,
you should join every one if you're a true closer, dude, because we're gonna be talking live. It's gonna be new stuff. We're gonna be the same stuff, but it's gonna be new.
It's gonna be better.
New nuggets. It's gonna be better every time. You should join every time.
Well, I mean, not that we're gonna maybe practice a couple times before we do it anyway, and then maybe re-practice it again and do it again so we get our craft a little bit better.
Sure.
Because I gotta tell you, I'm excited about it.
Yeah.
It's gonna be, powerful 3 hours. We're gonna leave with information. You'll get it recorded. You'll get some PDF stuff as well. But the one thing I can assure you is it's gonna teach you, give you ammunition to be able just to give one more close, one more shot, right?
To get one more close. Yeah.
To get one more sale.
To get one more sale. If you did one more sale a week and your average job, what do you think average job? I mean, we're cross sectional here on industries, but $5 grand, $9 grand, 10 grand, whatever. If you're making 5 to 10% commission on that.
So I make an extra $250 to $500 minimum a week.
Minimum
well,
a
let's
week.
Just say it's every other week.
Still, if it's once a month, you make an extra sale.
So once a month, I make an extra $500 times 12. That means I make an extra 6 G's a year.
Right.
Cash money on the low end.
Because
minimum.
Because what you took not only from this podcast, but from that experience coming up here,
and you get to keep. You can listen to it again and again.
You can listen to it again, and it's gonna improve your ability.
So where do they find this at? Be a Better Closer webinar is on the closersmindset.com. www.closersmindset.com. If you listen to the podcast, you should already know how to get to it. If not, go down to the notes below, click on the link, go check us out, go sign up.
Tell your sales buddies, or don't if you want to be better than them. Anyway, good stuff. We can't wait to see you there. It's gonna be awesome.
Until next time, until episode 16, we're out.